Imagine holding a key that could unlock a world from over 3,000 years ago. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're using some of humanity's oldest surviving texts to explore the Vedic age, a civilization whose ideas, laid the very foundations for modern India and way beyond.
But look, this isn't just some dusty history lesson. This is more like a quest. We're trying to figure out what secrets about society, belief, and life itself are locked away in these ancient hymns and verses. So let's find out together.
Get this. Our main source, the Rig Veda, has 1,028 distinct hymns. Just think about that for a second. Each one a unique piece, passed down perfectly by word of mouth for centuries before anyone ever wrote it down. It's like an entire library of thought from the dawn of civilization.
All right, so to get to the secrets of this age, we first have to understand our keys, the sacred texts themselves. Let's start decoding.
So what are the Vedas? Well, they're the foundational scriptures of Hinduism, this huge collection of texts written in ancient Vedic Sanskrit. And the oldest one, the most important one of them all, is the Rig Veda. It's basically this epic collection of sacred hymns.
Now, it's not just one book. The four main Vedas each had a specific job. You had the Rig Veda with the core hymns, the Sama Veda, which set those hymns to music, the Yajur Veda was like the instruction manual for all the rituals, and then you get the Atharva Veda, which is all about spells, charms, and even some early medicine. It really was a complete system for life. And, this literature didn't just appear all at once, it grew over time. It started with the main hymns, the Samhitas. Then came the Brahmanas, which were basically commentaries explaining the rituals. After that, you got the Aranyakas, or forest texts for hermits who wanted to get away from it all. And this whole evolution leads to these incredible texts called the Upanishads. And this is a huge deal. The Upanishads represent a massive intellectual leap. The focus moves away from external rituals, the chants and sacrifices, and turns inward. For the first time, people are asking these really deep philosophical questions. What's the nature of reality? What is the self? And what's the real path to liberation? So now that we kind of get the texts, we can use them almost like a blueprint. We can play historical detective and start to piece together what life was actually like back in the Vedic age.
The hymns themselves are full of geographical clues. They talk all the time about the Sindhu River, which we now call the Indus. They even mention the Kuba, which is the Kabul River today, placing them in contact with modern-day Afghanistan. But the river they really revered was the Saraswati, even calling it Devi Tama, the best of goddesses.
It's also right inside a specific hymn in the Rig Veda, the Purusha Sukta, that we get the very first mention of Varna. The term was used to describe a social structure, organizing people into different groups based on their roles, like priests or warriors or merchants. This was the earliest seed of a concept that would, over many, many centuries, evolve and harden into the complex caste system.
So what about politics? How did they run things? Well, the main system was a monarchy, passed down through the family. But the king didn't have total power. There were two really important assemblies, the Sabha, which was probably a council of elders, and the Samiti, a bigger assembly of the people. I mean, the texts even poetically call them the two daughters of the creator God, which just shows you how vital they were.
Want to see something really cool? You can literally watch their entire society change just by tracking a single word. In the early texts, Nishka just meant a gold necklace, but way later on, that same word, Nishka, meant a coin. It's a perfect little fossil in the language, showing the shift from a barter system to a real economy.
So what was the basis of that economy? Cattle. No question. The cow was the most valuable thing you could own, and this is captured perfectly in the Vedic term oganya, which literally means not to be killed. That one word tells you everything about how central cattle were to their world.
So, we've seen their physical world. Now let's explore their inner world, their gods, their rituals, and the really powerful ideas that shaped how they lived.
Early Vedic religion was deeply, deeply tied to the natural world. I mean, they saw the divide everywhere. Their many gods were often just powerful versions of nature itself. The sun, the wind, a big storm. And the main way you could communicate with these forces was through the yagna, the ritual fire sacrifice.
And if you want to know who got the most attention, just look at the charts. With an incredible 250 hymns dedicated just to him in the Rig Veda, Indra, the god of war and weather, was clearly the superstar of the pantheon. Right behind him was Agni, the fire god, who was like the messenger between humans and the other gods.
And remember that big shift towards philosophy? Well, this is where it leads. In the later texts, you find these amazing stories, like one about a young boy named Nachiketa who bravely goes up to Yama, the god of death himself, and questions him about the meaning of life and what happens after we die. The questions just got so much bigger.
So why does any of this ancient history even matter today? Well, because, as we're about to see, these words and ideas, they aren't just history. They are very, very much alive in our world right now.
This phrase, right here, it's instantly recognizable to hundreds of millions of people. You see it on money, on national emblems, it's everywhere. And where does it come from? Not from a modern constitution, but from the ancient Mundaka Upanishad. Truth alone triumphs. It's the national motto of India, a core principle for a modern country, taken directly from these millennial-old philosophical texts. Just incredible.
Okay, here's another one. A prayer, a mantra that has been chanted for thousands of years and is still one of the most revered and widely known in Hinduism today.
And its origin? The Rig Veda, the oldest of all the texts we've been talking about. See, this isn't just history. It's a living, breathing tradition. It's a direct line of thought, of sound, stretching unbroken for more than 3,000 years.
Which really just leaves us with one last question to think about. The people of the Vedic age passed down ideas that have echoed for millennia and have profoundly shaped our world. So, if their words could last this long, what ideas, what values are we creating today that will have the power to do the same?